Good evening, everyone. Had a little bit of a bumpy start there. Figuring out the whole process to start with YouTube was not something I've done before, as this is our first stream on YouTube, and we are also over on Twitch, as per the usual. Okay, I made some promises tonight. We have a lot of ground to cover, so we're gonna get right into this. To celebrate getting all of our gear hooked up, we're gonna do a big project. We're gonna build a web server from literally scratch. It sounds like it's a big daunting task, especially if you don't know how to do it or what is really involved. And it can be a lot depending on what your individual project needs are, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an overly daunting task. You break it down into pieces like pretty much anything else you have to do. So we're going to start here. Yeah, I made myself a checklist already. Okay, and this is our synopsis. Web hosting is expensive, and it is expensive. So if you're just developing, or if you have a project idea, or maybe you build templates, maybe you have a JavaScript library you're working on or something that uses Ajax callbacks. You can't do that locally. Okay, you need a server environment to work on. So in order to handle that, the best way to go about it is just to have a web server. Now, I don't recommend you build a web server in Windows. That's a terrible idea. So we're gonna address all of that. We're gonna start with VirtualBox and setting up VMs. We're gonna set up our VM, which I actually already have the VM built. It doesn't take very long to build a VM. And it's a pretty easy process. I've not finished configuring it because I did want to show something very important. So here in my VirtualBox, you can download this from Oracle. It's free. We're going to go to Settings. We're going to go to Network. You see where it's attached to NAT? Set that to bridged adapter. Unless you know what you're working with and you know how to use NAT, then do that. I mean, but if you're at that point, then you probably don't need my help configuring a VM. But for most people just starting out, use the bridge adapter. That way, when you install VirtualBox, you get a VirtualBox host-only adapter. It's a pseudo adapter that Windows can now bridge to your primary adapter and give you a shared internet between the two. Although the devices will have different IP addresses. So I just wanted to show that. That's kind of important. So we're going to start this bad boy, and it's probably going to break almost immediately because I did something earlier I shouldn't have done. Yeah, it's going to break. There's no bootable medium found. System halted. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We're just going to power that right off. This is not a hard fix. We go to storage. Yeah. We're going to... We're just going to remove that. I'm pretty sure if you just remove it, it'll ask you what you want to put in it when you start the VM. Or not. Well, I see we're starting off strong here. Alright, the other way to do this then is just go into storage. And we're going to add... we're just going to add a VM from this list. You can also browse, but I've loaded this particular ISO many times, so it knows about it. And we're just going to, okay, and then when I start it, it will boot that. And what that is, that ISO is the Rocky Linux installation CD, which you can download for free. All of this stuff is free, by the way, all of it. This entire toolkit, everything I'm doing here is 100% free. All right. I'm having trouble organizing all of the windows that I've got open. Alright, so we're back to here. We're going to we're going to install. Normally you would want to test the media first. I have already done that on previous installations. So we're just going to let this go. And close that because it annoys me. And we are going to start Anaconda, which is the Red Hat installer tool. I believe it was made by Red Hat. It might not be. I've been using Anaconda since Red Hat 3. Alright, we are in English. English. Alright, we're gonna... Keyboard's okay. Language support is okay. Time and date. Root account is disabled. We're not going to have that. We absolutely want to have root account. And to put yourself in a good, memorable password here, or if not memorable, write it down somewhere. But make sure it's a good password. Root user in Linux is God. It can do whatever it wants. And we are not going to allow SSH login with password for root, because that's a big security problem. We don't do that. And done. Installation source, setting up base repository. I don't actually remember this. Hang tight. I'm going to grab a URL here. Linux. Just 1 second, I'm almost there. That's funny, it doesn't actually say that anything is required there. Looking at the Rocky Linux docs. So I'm going to just leave that be for now. It's gonna freak out, right? Or not. Yeah, it's mad about that. Right? Alright, we'll do this quick. Alright, I set aside a 50 gig hard drive space, which is way more than you need for this. I tend to want to configure this manually. You don't necessarily have to. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. There are reasons to want to do your own partitions. For a simple development VM is not a reason to want to do that. Alright. I need to find what would equate to the yum repository for installs. Well, crap. Apparently, Rocky Linux has released a new version or something. Let me just verify what version I'm using. I'm using 9. Okay, that's good. That's the one I want to be using. Okay. It's been a very long time since I've actually had to do this, so it's very funny. Oh, I almost forgot to mention that Rocky Linux is basically CentOS. Which is why I use it. I've been using CentOS for a fairly long time. Which CentOS was really just Red Hat repackaged and packaged better. But now that's kind of like merged into Red Hat, but they're like an upstream artifact of Red Hat now. And I think CentOS is like a development version of Red Hat, or some, I don't know. I've seen about 4 or 5 different explanations of what happened there, and none of it makes any sense. And I stopped caring enough to read into it. Rocky is basically the new CentOS. So I'm seeing a lot of information about the repos, but not a URL. Well, that's an RPM. I don't want that. Oh, I gotta wait for it to finish doing its thing now. That's so weird. Everything's saying to use the local media, but my local media throws an error, and I'm pretty sure it's because I downloaded a bare installer. To keep my download fast. I'm trying to, it won't open it. Did I break it? I think I broke it. Oh, there we go. Cool. It won't open anything now. That's fine. I'm still looking for that URL. I wonder why it just froze. That's neat. Well, no harm done. Oh, by the way, if you click inside of this window, you lose your mouse. Usually, depending if the current terminal supports mouse interaction, it will capture the mouse and it won't give it back to Windows. You can just tap left control and it gives it back. This thing's really slow. Alright, we'll start with this. Oh, was it that easy? Yeah, no, it doesn't like that. Oh. Okay. Is this a bug? Hang on. Did I hastily grab the wrong ISO? This is 9x86 boot. Okay, remove. No, that was right. So I'm reading something that apparently this also happens on the Kickstart version of it. Just mildly problematic. You have to hack the Kickstart file, which is not something I really want to get into. It's a little outside of the scope of this video. Okay. Let's download .rocky linux.org pub Rocky 9. Make sure that's right. I'm actually looking at the wrong URL. Yeah, it works. 9 base OS x86_64 OS. And that is a repository URL. Not a big fan of this coming in over HTTPS. HTTPS means that it's encrypted, which is generally a good thing, but encrypted data moves slowly. You have to give extra room for the encryption algorithm to take the data, and when it encrypts it, it actually makes it bigger, and it takes more packets to send. Keep doing that. Really? Oh, does it need another /? Is that a problem for this thing? It might be. Yeah, that's fine. It still does not like that at all. Yeah, according to this, that is in fact the URL. I'm just gonna try something dumb. Let's try a yell. This shouldn't work because it is Rocky 9. and I changed it to the Rocky 8 repository. It'd be great if this wasn't so slow. Come on, I got a lot of content to get through here. This is what I get for downloading minimal installers instead of just grabbing the whole thing. Yeah, and I broke it again. No, I didn't. It's still going. Just not going. You may want to have to set this too. Mine's correct, so I leave it be. There we go. All right, try this again. Pub Rocky 9 base OS x86 64 OS. Oh, that's not what I need. This is for extra stuffs, I think. Or, oh no, this is on the, I see. And there's this HTTPS, there's no login. Okay, why did it do that? Saying that this is a problem, but it shouldn't be a problem. quickly in for a second because I think there might actually be a problem with the network. No, that's all right. Yeah, I think there's a network problem. I know this is wrong, but I want to see what it does. All right, how about Rocky X9? Yeah, it just switches to HTTPS. Pain in the butt. Okay. Only package metadata. Okay, I think there might be a problem with the network. And this could actually be something wrong with Windows that I've changed. So we're going to shut this down. We'll close this. And unfortunately, you don't get to see this bit. Because I'll be playing with my adapter settings and stuff, and I don't want to create a security problem for myself. Yeah, packets sent and received is 0 for my virtual box host only network adapter. Yeah, it's got a bad IP address. That setting seems to be holding. Let's see if this works now. Alright, so I made a small change to the crap. Well, while it's doing that, I made a small change to the amount of memory that I have allocated to the VM, and I upped it to 4096 megs. That's 4 gigs. That's way more than a web server needs, but it might help with the installer. I don't typically run a machine with X in it. You don't really have a choice with Anaconda. You have to use X, which is fine. All right, let's see. What's what we get here? .org. Right, pub. Rock 59. Base OS. x86. 64. OS. Oh shit. I just remember I have Windows Hyper-V enabled, which breaks Oracle VirtualBox. It breaks all the network stuff. I completely forgot about it. I need to have Hyper-V on for something else that I'm doing. I don't remember what. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Like, I can't do any of this. Right? Wrong? Maybe. Let's find out. This is an already installed version of Rocky Linux. That's fine. That's a normal error. Wrong password? No, right password. Okay. Sudo if config. Yeah, no, that's legit IP. And I don't know. I really don't have links installed. I don't have links installed either. Jesus. Should. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, I just downloaded friggin' all of the Google homepage and printed the entire contents of the page's code to my shell. All right, so internet does work. So what's different? Storage. Network. Bridge adapter. System. It's a lot more memory, but it's fine. That was a large sneeze. You know what? Networking. You know, the old Anaconda used to have a section where you'd have to set up the network. I'm going to guess it probably tries to do that automatically now. Okay, one more time. We'll try this. Oh no, I am not using that URL. That is based out of Australia. Absolutely not. I will be downloading this all month. Jeez. Okay. Just checking the spelling on stuff. I'm not going to put the trailing slash on. We'll just leave that be. What is a meta link anyway? Let me just ask all of Google here for a second. MetaLink is an extendable metadata file format that describes one or more computer files available for download. And appropriate for the user's language and operating system, facilitates the file verification and recovery for data corruption, and lists alternate download sources, mirror URIs. Nice. That's actually really handy. And there it is. Oh, but it worked now. Okay, I don't know what I did that's different, but the installation source seems to be working now. I took the trailing slash off the URL. Right, let's put our root password in. Remember, this needs to be a truly excellent password, even for a dev machine. All right. Minimal install. Don't be wanting to install most of this, okay? And definitely not anything with a UI requirement. Aw. The wife just let me know in Twitch chat that apparently no one got the notification that I was live. Well, that's, you know, hang tight. See if that helps. Console internet often, yeah, we want these, right? Because this is elinks, links, curl. These are important tools for developing a basic development environment. Yes. That will include your compiler. You need to have GCC, probably G++ is included, but if not, it can be installed as long as we have GCC. Otherwise, you end up like working on without a compiler, and it's really difficult to do that. Then you have to use either Yum or RPM to get yourself a compiler, and we will be building tools from source, so we need to have a compiler. Also, RPM development tools doesn't hurt to install, especially if you are using the machine for development. You can use the RPM packaging tools to pack up your installation of whatever it is you're developing to ship it off to test. Because remember, you never test on your development machine. The environments are vastly different. We're not going to worry about security tools. We are going to do system tools just in case that becomes necessary. But we do not want to use GNOME applications. We don't really need headless management because I have a workaround that. I see. And we definitely don't need anything in the virtualization host because it's actually the virtualization client. Server with GUI, absolutely not. You know. And again, all of these servers, I said we're going to build a web server. It's like, oh, well, I could just click one of these, and here I can install. Where is it? I know it's here as a mail server. What server is that mail server? It doesn't tell you. It's probably Qmail. Basic web server, right? So I can just click this. Yeah, you will get Apache, which is what we're going to install, and it will be installed ridiculously in the System 5 standard of bits and pieces of it everywhere in the operating system. Not what we're doing here. Okay, I build a toolkit that is specifically designed to work out of a single directory. So at any time you can pack up the entire thing and move it. So long as you install it in the same place where it goes, it will work just fine. And any, operating system specific dependencies that are needed will be there. But we'll get into that in a bit. We're done here. All right, we're gonna do the de facto installation, which should give us partitions for the root, the swap space, and the boot sector, or the boot mount point. Linux doesn't use drives the way Windows does. It has mount points, which kind of extend the file system in a really cool way. So you could just like mount a partition anywhere, as long as you have permission to do so. And you can continue just extending the file system, mounting stuff to other stuff, and remounting stuff if you want. Not great to use remount in that way, but you can. There are very special reasons to do that. That has to do with like breaking relational pathing or fixing for an absolute path that no longer exists. But usually you use mounting for like mounting network shares or network resources. All right, this is going to download some stuff, and while it's downloading stuff, I'm going to go grab a smoke, and I shall return shortly. I will actually leave this up. We're actually just gonna hide my webcam. Oh, after I make this get back my VM, and I will return briefly, and I'm you guys just watch this. Alright, we're back, and, let me just get my webcam back on here. There we go. I'm in the wrong... There we go. I was in the wrong scene. Okay. We're actually not going to reboot the system. We're going to close the system. And the reason we're going to do that is because I'm going to go into the settings, into storage, fetch shared folders, storage, and I actually want to remove this attachment because it'll keep trying to boot it. I don't want that. I want it to boot the operating system now. Okay, we're left with two here. One's a rescue drive. One is not. Obviously boot the one that is not. Now, I did not configure any users for this machine in Anaconda. Actually, I think it was Rocky Linux 8 that let you do that, not 9. I don't even remember seeing it there now. So we're going to log in as root. And we're going to give it the password that we created for root. Now we're going to say user, we're going to say group add. Whatever your name is that you log in. It's typically commonplace to use your first initial and then your last name as your login name, as long as your last name isn't absolutely monolithic. So we'll add the group, and then we'll say user add capital G. That means we're adding a user, and we're going to add it to that group. -S is for shell. We're going to say bin bash -D for home is home. And then just the name. Oh, it's a lowercase g. My mistake. There we go. Now, I can exit. Oh no, I'm gonna buy sudo. We're gonna go all the way down here. This is squished. Oh, it's no. I believe is how you do that. Let me just verify my syntax real quick here. This file breaking is not good. sudo to my new user. Oh. If I sudo my new user account, first let me check my su dash so that you pull in the profile. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Alright, now we no longer need... no, I do need this. My mistake. I did not set a password for my new user. So say password, or PASSWD, and then the username. Okay. I actually don't need this. God damn it, I do need that. Stupid mistakes. One more time as root. And then what we're going to do, first I'm going to minimize this so I can see chat. And I'm going to say if config. Okay, it's 5102 is the IP address for this machine. And I use Kitty. This is a free tool you can download. Oh, that probably broke all kinds of stuff. Alright, well, we're good. Port 22 because we're on SSH. And we're gonna save. To Twitch. We're gonna save. Yeah, that's fine. And it's because this VM ended up with the exact same IP that another VM I use has. So now we can say exit. And we're back at the login screen. So we can minimize that. We don't need that anymore. And I like using a shell client because it scrolls. And you can get the standard. Actually, don't need that. You can get this to scroll to, but you have to run it through a pager, like less or more. Or... Remember, we don't log in as root, so which is why I wanted to enable sudo, so that I can actually just sudo su dash, and I'm root that quickly. I do not recommend doing that on a production machine, but again, this is a development box, so we're gonna do this. All right. First thing we can do, cd home, not home, I'm sorry, opt, and there's nothing in this folder. We also don't have any permissions in this folder right now, so we'll say sudo make dir framework, and that creates a folder in here called framework. But if you look at the permissions on it, it's owned by root, so we'll say chown capital R wrong way around. sudo. Now, our group has permissions for this folder to read and execute, but not write. So we'll say chown or chmod. It's going to be 7, 7, and then read execute is 5, I believe, right? Read is 1, read is 3, execute is 1, it's 4. Oh, this is also, you must sudo this. I broke it. It is 775. Yeah, read and execute. Okay. My youngest child is still awake, but not really awake. She's coughing. Alright. Alright, now we have a framework directory. We're going to go to a user local source directory. This is a special directory generally used by convention to compile new software. So we're going to go... Oh, also another reason I use these a terminal client is because I can copy paste into it. You cannot copy paste into a VM. Into this VM. You actually can enable that, but I've never gotten it to work right. But again, there's a lot of advantages to using a shell client like this as opposed to just using the this. Also, I can manage this particular client doesn't do it, but I have another one that does, and it doesn't work with newer versions of Linux, but it has SFTP built right into it, which is really friggin' handy. But the newer versions of Linux, it can't support it. It's a very old program. It's been out since like Windows 98. Alright, let's get... We don't need any of this, any of this. I need that open. Alright. This is the Apache Software Foundation website, apache.org. We're going to go to projects. See all projects. There's a lot. That's cool. This is not what I was after though. Let's just search for it. HTTPD. Bingo. Okay. Apache mod Perl. We're going to be getting that pretty soon. I don't need that just yet though. Okay, that isn't actually a clickable link. That is though. Alright. Go to the... Here we go. Number one HTTP server on the internet. Truth. Apache is easily the most widely used HTTPD in the world because it's free, but also because it's open source. And I've talked about this a little bit before. Open source software is absolutely the way to go for a lot of reasons. There are drawbacks, but open source software is publicly available in usually a repository of some sort where anyone can view the code, can submit pull requests to alter code, usually for the benefit of the project. All of those pull requests are peer reviewed, and you know, decisions are made whether those pull requests will actually be merged into the primary branch. of development. And this is really important because that many eyes on your code helps find potential problems, and most notably security problems. And when you're talking about something like an HTTP server, security problems are a big issue. Like this is what makes your system publicly available, to the internet. And actually, you have a listener there on that port that when a request comes in, something will respond. If that response has a problem, or that response mechanism has a problem, it can be a big problem for you and everything behind that system. Alright, so we are at 2.458, looks like. Okay. Let's look at the download page. I have a bad habit of middle-clicking links so they open in new tabs. Alright, we want the tar.gz, so we're going to copy this URL. Right, and I'm going to click it, just see what it does. It prompts me for download. Perfect. So we want to copy the link address. We're going to go back to Kitty, and we're going to say wget-c shift insert to paste it in most terminals. And we'll just hit OK or hit enter. Oh, permission denied. Really? Oh. That was really fast, and I'm kind of concerned by how fast it was. Well, let's open it up. tar-zxvf. Tar is the tape archiving utility. -z means I'm unzipping it first, so it's going to invoke the gzip platform for me, so I don't have to call it. And then xvf is extract verbose with force. And we'll just say HTTP. Wow, that was really fast. Okay. Also remember, you're downloading source code. Okay, source code is very small. It's just text. Okay, these aren't giant binaries. We're going to create that giant binary. Okay, this isn't an installer package that I downloaded from Microsoft. This is source code. This is cool. Alright, so then we'll cd into the httpd directory. But I have made a mistake. I jumped the gun, and I got ahead of myself. Before we do this, and I should have been referencing my notes, and I wasn't. This is my B. Yeah, install Linux, and then the very first thing we install is Perl. So we're going to go to perl.org. Download. Source. Wow, 5.38. Alright, so copy link address. Alright, we'll go back to here. When I first started writing Perl, it was at 5.8.8. That version is gone. You can't even download it anymore. It's 5.8.9 is the closest you can get to it. They released a hotfix, or not hotfix, but they patched a security bug and made 8.8 unavailable. Anyway, the -c to wget is continuous mode. So if the download is ever interrupted, you can just rerun the command. It will pick up where it left off. It's kind of an old trick I use because back in the day I used to use dial-up internet, and dropouts were frequent. And then when I didn't use dial-up internet anymore, I was using DSL, which had the same problem. If there was any static anywhere on the lines, your internet was not great. And by not great, I mean it was hit or miss whether it was even there. Alright, so we'll run the same command again. TowerCF Perl. Okay, and by the way, I'm hitting tab to autocomplete any text. The shell will figure out what you want it to do. So, okay, now for Perl, we're going to run configure. Is it lowercase? Nope. Okay. Now, normally, I'm going to go ahead and just do this right now. This is not how I install this stuff usually. I have this, which is my Acuos tools. I used to work for Acuos. This is a toolkit that I wrote while I worked for them that I cannot make available to anyone ever because it is a proprietary toolkit that is technically still their property. I do have a copy of it that I use for myself for development. This includes a series of make files that I wrote that will automatically install everything we are about to do today, and it does it in about 15 minutes. It is absolutely astounding. So it has been a while since I've done it the old way, but this will serve as a good re-education for me and education for anybody watching. So it literally says type character return to continue. It is testing your character return, at least the first time. Okay, Linux is fine. You see in square brackets here at the bottom, I'm pointing at my screen like you can see. It says Linux here in square brackets. It's guessing at what it thinks you want. Basing, it's doing its own tests while it's printing this stuff out. And there's all kinds of stuff in here, like QNX. QNX is basically a version of Linux, but for like medical machines and stuff. I believe that like MRI machines and that kind of stuff, they actually run QNX under the covers. There's Linux Android, FreeBSD. Perl will install pretty much anywhere C runs. And C runs everywhere. Might take some work. It's not as nice as Java where it just installs everywhere out of the box. But technically, if you are on a machine that has a C compiler, you can install Perl. Operating system Linux is fine. Operating system version. Yep, that's fine. Name okay, user local. We're not installing there. Normally, Perl wants to install in a system-wide location, which is the user local directory. This is by System 5 standards. We are not going to be doing that. We're going to build everything into a framework. So our installation prefix is actually going to be opt framework Perl. Just use that name anyway. Yes. And what installation prefix should I use for installing files? Opt framework Perl. Yes. Directory opt framework doesn't exist yet. Yes. It is going to be a bit of a bother about that. I could just open a new one, right? We'll just log in as ourselves. Go to the framework directory and we'll just say make dir Perl. Oh wait, you gotta sudo that. And it will stop complaining about it now. Let's put that there for now. There's our backup shell. Are we building a threading Perl? No. Wait. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Normally, I would say no, obviously, by my instinctive answer. Working with threads in Perl isn't intuitive, and it can be very dangerous. If you don't have a need for it, don't use it. However, in a web server environment, we do have a need for it. One of the dependencies we're going to install later will require that Perl be threaded. And so if it's not threaded, you'll end up having to reinstall it. It's kind of a pain in the butt. You'll see that in a minute. It runs a lot of tests. So we're going to use CC for our C compiler, right? It's GCC version, okay. That just tells me that we're sane, okay. CC is a symlink to GCC. They are exactly the same thing. Library searches user local lib, user lib64, and user local lib64. That is correct. And what is the file extension for shared libraries? It is SO. Short for shared object. Make library base names unique. Yes. There will be several cases where we will have to install 64-bit and 32-bit case versions of things, although not for Perl modules. I guess that wouldn't have mattered. Build Perl for socks. Sure. Perl. I can't remember if we use socks or not. It's been a while. Just accept the default. Long doubles if available. Yeah. Long doubles are good. They're a little bit more memory hungry because they use twice as much memory space, or memory allocation. But it makes the math more accurate if they're available. I don't know if the newest versions of Rocky support that, but I know my processor does. What libraries use? LibThread, LDL, Crypt, util, and LC. Yep, that's fine. Optimizer debugger flag, O2. Additional CC flags. Yep. Additional LD flags not including. I feel like I'm forgetting something. 64-bit support if available. Yes. So, probably 10 years ago, I would have said no. There wasn't anything wrong with the 64-bit support in Perl, but it was hit and miss whether all the platforms would have 64-bit, right? And when you're deploying from one system to another, you have to make sure all of your stuff is right. And yeah, you can out of bound a 32-bit integer real fast. So, but now we're most definitely going to use it. Yep, we definitely use NM. That's a pretty sane thing to do. x86-64 Linux is the architecture. Add Perl API version to your arc name. No. Path name to where the executables will reside is. Yep, that's fine. Yes, that's fine. Even though Opt Framework Perl exists, the bin directory inside of there does not exist, and that's okay. It'll create it. Relocatable at ink. Absolutely not. I have tried to use relocatable at ink 1,000 times, and it always breaks. It is just a fucking pain. If you don't know what at ink is, it is the special Perl global variable that holds all of the path names for where all of the Perl modules can be installed, and it searches through it looking for it when you make a use statement or a require statement. Sort of the same way path in bash actually returns multiple things. Home and they're separated by colons. That's sort of what at ink is, except that this is one long string because bash doesn't know what an array is. Actually, bash does. It does what lists are, and that's kind of an array. Alright. This is fine. Where do you want to put architecture dependent libraries? Name okay. This is fine. By the way, I'm saying name okay. It's saying that tilde name okay. Tilde is a special Linux character. Well, not Linux character. It's the Bourne shells specifically will use tilde to reference your home directory. This is a really old leftover from when systems were often shared by people on in university style settings. Like the first versions of Unix were like Berkeley Unix were obviously at Berkeley, and these systems were used by hundreds of people daily, and you would reference things with the tilde to reference your home directory because that's where you installed things. It's the only place you had permission to. Other username to test security of set UID scripts with. Linux does not support set UID. Installation prefix for add-on modules. Path name for site specific. It should be site Perl. It's fine. Subversions to include add ink. None. Never, ever, ever link add inks if you have multiple installations of Perl. Install them separately. Do you wish for malloc calls to prevent against potential overflows? Yeah. You want to use the malloc that comes with Perl? No. The malloc that comes with C works fine. Path name for site-specific directories. Yep, that's fine. Configure vendor-specific add-on directories. Nope. Separate list of additional directories for Perl search. None. And support dtrace if available. No, we don't need dtrace. It's only extra modules. No. We could, but the modules we're going to install are going to be kind of heavy. And this is already a pretty big process. So directory for the Perl 5 HTML pages. It's whatever. Do you want Perl user bin Perl? No. No, we do not. Because again, this is not a global installation of Perl. This is for a very specific use. And there is already a Perl installed. Should be. Yeah. There's already a Perl. It's Perl 5 version 32 subversion 1. Built multi-threaded. This is the system Perl that it comes installed in this version of Linux. Dynamic loading, yeah. Oh. fpic. CC. Dynamic linking. Build shared libperl SO. No, we won't need it. Where to do the main Perl 5 manual pages? Source go. Yep, that's fine. 1 and 3. Yep. Your host name appears to be. No, we're gonna change that. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna leave it. Because that opens up a can, and again, it's outside the scope of this already very long tutorial. How you doing there, Crypto Racer? Sorry, I'm not watching chat as much as I'd like to be. I have to read this because I'm narrating all the things that we're doing. What is your domain name? That's fine. Email address. That ain't it. But we're gonna leave it. Version number. Obviously, you'd want to fill in sensible values there if it matters, but again, it's just a development box. We're just testing stuff here. So these values don't have to be correctly filled out because no one's ever going to use them. No, we're not going to use version numbering for that. What should I put after the hashbang to start up Perl? None to not use hashbang. Yeah, no, that's a sensible option. Opt framework Perl, bin Perl. Some installations have a separate directory just for executable scripts. Name OK. Subdirectory share for this. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna manipulate that a little bit. But that comes later when we're done building the framework. Framework Perl bin doesn't exist. Yes, Jesus. That's fine. Yes, use that name. Yes. 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 Public executable script should be installed. Perl bin, yep. Use fast STIO if available. Standard IO. I'm trying to remember if one of the modules we're going to install requires us to use Perl IO. I'm going to say no for now. I may end up having to fix that later. And if I have to fix it later, I'll fix it off stream, because this is already a very long process. Large files, absolutely yes. Here we go. We're checking all of those C headers. Yeah, ignore that hosting. Yeah, no, we do not want to use Perl's vfork. Yep, 16 because we use long doubles. 8 bytes. Exclude dot from @inc by default. Yeah. What type pointer is a second argument to get groups? Yeah, it's JDT. So this is like some stuff about knowing your C and knowing your libraries. This stuff is almost always correct. In fact, I've never seen these 3 questions ever guess wrong. Or 2 questions, I should say. Yep, last TACR is fine. Build Perl with strict enable by default. No, I don't actually. I will de facto always say use strict at the top of all of my scripts anyway. Which compiler? BIAC. It's a compiler. Yeah, BIAC is fine. None. No static loads. No static extensions, rather. Press return. Shell escape to edit config sh. Can edit it. Make depend. Alright. So now, if everything's right, I could just say make. Now, make is a very cool program that comes, as long as you install the base developer tools, you'll get it. It'll just be part of the distro. So when you're installing Linux, that is. When I say make sure you select your base development tools, this is why. You want to have make. You want to have GCC. Make is a sort of pseudo language that kind of operates like a Windows or an MS-DOS batch file, but way smarter, and it accepts better, smarter variables. And oh, really? Okay. I've never seen socks fail like that. didn't return 0. That's a definite problem. Okay. I don't think I can. Okay. I guess I'll just rerun configure. Oh wait, is my... I don't remember if I remember to change the, Oh yeah, it remembered it. Okay. The rest of this should be right. Oh. We're back to make depend. Alright. Right, this is unfortunately a fairly long process. Perl is absolutely huge. I mean, it's a language. And more importantly, it's the hacker's language. Anybody that's been around knows that us Perl developers get kind of a bad rap because our language is a bit unconventional, but also very conventional. If you look at languages like Python, Ruby, even PHP, have a lot of roots in the way Perl was developed. And in fact, a lot of the built-in function names are identical to what's written into the Perl namespace, or the Perl main namespace. And a lot of that comes over from C, from where the functions are basically renamed versions of C functions. This looks like it is working beautifully. Yeah, we're well on our way. We're gonna come back to here. Now I'm still in that framework directory, right? Yeah, I am. So again, I'm gonna sudo chown tac r root J Sullivan Perl. That gives it the correct permissions. I believe those are the correct permissions. Alright, and while this is compiling, I'm going to go grab a smoke. I will let you watch this, and I will return in just a moment. Yeah, we're not. That finished as I was about to stand up, so I will just run make test. Alright, now I'll be right back. All right, we're back. And we are still testing. Yeah, this is a really long process. Perl has a lot of tests. And I say that with an exasperated sigh, but it's a good thing. Tests are important. These tests are written to check literally every functionality that Perl has. So long as it's appropriate for your system. I don't see a few here that are skipped, pardon me. So we really can't do anything until this is done. Now, the reason we have to install Perl first is because we're going to install Apache, and then we're going to install mod Perl for Apache. Okay, and you have to have Perl already existing on the system for mod Perl to link to something. Now, there's the system Perl, which you can use. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Except, again, we're doing a framework installation, so I want to make sure that all the things that are packaged up in our framework work cohesively together. So the Perl I'm going to link mod Perl to is the one that we're installing in the framework directory. That way, if I do get a bug in my butt, I want to RPM the whole thing up and ship it off to another system, a Linode or something, I can. Without having to go through this very long installation process all over again. Which, I'm looking at the time, and it is 10 after 12, and I got work in the morning, so we're probably not going to finish this today, and that's okay. I stream every night, so we will do this. We'll just pick back up on it tomorrow, wherever we happen to leave off. I'd like to get Apache installed, though. That usually goes pretty quick. No, we also have to install the 2 Apache utilities. I don't remember if APR config comes with the Apache source distribution or not. I don't think it does. So we'll have to install the APR tools, which is the Apache runtime thing. It's for linking. Well, while we're doing this, we can come over to this one and we can just... okay, we're in our framework directory, so what I'm going to create is a file real quick. I should have write permission here now, so I should be able to just touch profile. Yeah. Perfect. Now we're going to chmod +x profile. Perfect. And then we'll open it in Vi. I don't call it Vim. I don't call it NeoVim. Well, it's not NeoVim. It's Vim. I call it Vi because that's what it started as, and I've been using it since it was called Vi. Even though it is very much Vi improved. All right, we'll start with our hash. Oop. Jesus. Our hash bang. Bin bash, and we're going to say path equals opt framework bin colon path. Editor. Get that export in there. And what that'll do is it changes this path variable to include the framework directory. So if I just source now when I run echo path, you see that the framework directory is the first value there. And it's important it's the first value there. Okay, I wrote it that way on purpose so that I put the path argument or the path variable at the end of the line. This is commonplace. And the reason for it is that when I run a command on this system, it's going to check the path in the order in which they appear. And the first command or the first time it matches a command, it will invoke that command. So if I say Perl dash capital V, I get the system Perl. And when this is done installing, it's going to install into my framework directory, and then it will match that Perl first, which is again important, but only if you source the profile in the framework directory. So if you're using the framework for something, you will do that. You will source the profile. Okay, and it looks like we had a makefile error. It failed a socket test. Okay. I've never had to do this before. Well, we'll see what we get. Anyway, as I was saying, it will match the installed Perl. That way, when the framework is running, the framework will run as whatever user invokes the framework, with the exception of Apache, which will always run as root, because it has to bind to a port under 1024, which is it's a requirement of Nix systems that it has administrative privileges in order to do that. But again, it will be sourcing the profile there. That way, any calls to Perl, any calls to posters, anything that's installed and called to those binaries are going to reference the bin directory within the framework. And that was a lot of words, and I'm probably sounded a lot more complicated than I meant for it to, but we're gonna make dir bin, and then we're gonna ch own Now we have a bin directory here. This is what the profile points path at. And then in that bin directory, we will actually have symlinks that go deeper into the framework to the Perl binary, the H2XS binary, the APR binary, or APR config, the PGCTL binary for starting postgres, or Postgres. This is going to be a long process, and I think I might end up wrapping it up after Perl, since this is getting to be kind of a butthole. So I don't usually have these problems. I'm not entirely certain what happened, but this should tell us, or it'll just pass all the tests and not tell us. If that happens, you don't generally want to run a make install, though, with failed tests, because that means something could break down the road. For something like a socket, I'm not terribly concerned about it, because I don't use Perl sockets. And I don't think any of the libraries I'm going to be using use Perl sockets. But they could be useful, right? Like, sockets are pretty common. Even my OBS software here is using sockets for the... I have a link in OBS, not a link, but a GUI window which shows me chat. That is a socket connection under the covers to the IRC server that Twitch runs for the chat channels. Sockets come up a lot. Any kind of communication medium over the internet is absolutely using a socket somewhere. Oh, I am mad. I forgot that YouTube chat does this. So when you're live on YouTube, it has this stupid feature called Top Chat, and it can hide messages that quote unquote aren't popular or look spammy. Yeah, no, don't do that to me. I want to see live chat. I want to see all of it. Well, that's chugging right along. Oh no shit, I could pop out the whole dashboard. Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay, it's just the analytics. That's still pretty cool. Only usable on Windows. Oh, PL to bat. So every file has an extension. They don't have to in Linux. They don't really have to anywhere. Well, they kind of have to in Windows. Because the way NIC systems work, you have two ways of invoking something, right? So if we go back to that. Okay, the very first line here, which you can barely see because it's dark blue, is hashbang bin bash. That line right there makes the file executable. Well, that as long as it has permission to execute, which you can denote by the fact that it's green, and because it has X in its permission nodes here. But this is at the operating system level. The OS will let it run. What tells it what to run is that very first line, and it says that I would like to use the bash interpreter to run the rest of this file. And it doesn't say that, it just literally points at the bash interpreter. Bin bash is where that lives. ls bin bash. Okay, it literally lives there. There are other interpreters. ls bin csh. Now, or KSH or BSH, which is the original Bourne shell before Bash came out. Bash actually means born again shell. There you go. And that's Bourne, B-O-U-R-N-E. So it's a Christian pun, not a reference. That is trucking right along there. All right, so it also is in the R's, QR. Okay, so we're almost the sockets, sort of. It's actually in the T's. Wow, it comes with a lot of default modules. So if this doesn't work, what we end up doing is rolling back the version of Perl to an older version. There could be something in Perl source code that just doesn't get along with our environment. That happens. Again, it's a hacker's language. You have to hack at it sometimes to get it to play nicely with you. It's not quite as easy or as straightforward as things like PHP, which just sort of work. For the most part, I have installed PHP from source the same way, and it does have its share of breakages, but it's nothing any worse than Perl here. I've never installed Python from source, though. I usually use Yum to install that if I have to, because I don't use it in a production environment. If I'm using Python, it's usually to test something quickly. You could, though. You could easily framework that as well. Any installation tool or compiling tool that lets you set what's called a prefix, you can absolutely framework. And it's a good habit to get into when you're building environments, is to contain your environment within a single folder. That way you have full control over it. And you don't have anything about the system that's going to interfere with you. And there's been too many times where I've been working on something and then I'll punch for the night and just be like, all right, I'm done, commit my code, and then go, grab some food and hit the sack for the evening. And when I come back in the morning, I go to check my code out and shit is broken. Shit doesn't compile anymore, or shit's throwing really weird errors and I don't know why. The answer is always the same: environment. Something in the environment changed. If you framework your stuff, the environment is very easy to figure out because it's all in one file. That's what that profile's for. That is all of your environment variables for the entire framework will live in that file. So if you have a special need to configure LD library path for something, you can. Which, in the newer versions of Linux, you don't do that. You don't use LD library path. I forget what you are supposed to use. There's a tool for that now. I don't remember. I'll look it up later. But all of that stuff lives there. When we build the database, we will be setting some more environment variables. For like the PG home directory or not home directory, the PG data directory and stuff. That way we can decrease the number of command line arguments that we're pushing to PGCTL. Not that they're particularly difficult, it's just I feel like it's smarter to have them in the environment. That way the environment is easier to debug. Oh, also, I keep thinking of things. We are building a web server here, and I said we're going to install a database. Again, this is a development environment. In a production atmosphere, you should never, ever have your database server and your web server on the same machine. They are both network capable services, or not services, but daemons, basically. And anything that is network capable is potentially a security hazard. And can absolutely become a vector of attack. This is particularly true of databases. So what you would normally do is you have your web server, which is internet facing, and then you have your database server, which is an entirely different machine, which is not internet facing. It has no access to the internet at all. And then your web server talks directly to your database server over your LAN. This is the best way to go about that, because if your database is ever compromised, you've got fucking problems. This is a big thing that comes up all the time. You hear about data breaches and whatnot. Now, it doesn't mean that just because there was a data breach, it's some... You son of a bitch! Oh no, it failed test 24, okay. But it failed a different test. Same one. Socket T. Get address it. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm in the test directory. Oh. Using sudo as root is a little bit mundane, or a little bit repetitive, but it makes me feel better to type the command properly. I forget what I was talking about now. Oh, database server and web server sharing a machine. Yeah, it doesn't mean that all data breaches are a result of the database and the web server living on the same machine. There are absolutely other ways that you can get access to a front-facing machine and then use that front-facing machine to navigate the rest of the network. But it just, removing the database server from a internet-facing machine simply removes a vector of attack. And it is significantly more secure because you have just cut the tie right there. All right, this is good. So now I'm going to go to this shell, right? ls. And this is what we just installed. Okay, so now if I exit, or not exit, cd, I'm gonna cd into bin, right? I'm gonna say ln tac s out of here into the Perl directory, bin directory, Perl. Then I'm gonna do it again with sudo. Okay, now when I ls tac l, there's my symlink. And I'm going to do it again, but for h2xs and Perl doc. Is that it? Is that all I really need? Yeah, I think that's all I need. P-tar, it's Perl tar. That's funny. Alright, so now if I ls tac l, you see all the symlinks there. So now again, because I'm in my home directory. Remember, I used this particular shell to source the framework profile, right? So if I say Perl, or if I say which Perl, the one we just installed comes up because it came up first in path. That's what we want. That is a properly frameworked installation of a tool. And we will do the same thing with Apache and the rest of the stuff. So let's come back over to here. We're going to cd back, cd htt. Configure. Oh, APR not found. Okay. All right, let's get this over here. This is not what I want. Is this what I want? It's kind of what I want. Nope. This is what I want. Okay, the Apache portable runtime. I just want to download it. Okay. Oh, here we are. Icon V. Huh. I feel like this is not going to install correctly. So we're going to type configure again, but we're going to put prefix opt framework pt. God damn. pt. We're going to go over here. Most configure scripts you can put a prefix argument into and it will accept it. I don't believe that this is an exception to that rule. Almost there. Okay, looks like it really went well. Okay, now we come back over to here. There's your APR1 config. Okay, so now one of the things we're going to do is cd bin, and we're going to sudo ln tac s httpd bin APR1 config, and then again ls tac l bin. Oh, I'm in bin. Okay. Alright, now the next thing it's going to ask you for is APR utils, which is right here. And same thing, we'll put a prefix on here. Wait, what? Oh. You have to... with APR equals opt wow, I 100% forgot how this works. Okay, it is with equal signs, okay. Ooh. We don't have expat. Okay, that is an operating system dependency. Sort of. I don't exactly remember. That's not what that is. EXPAT. XML parser, okay. Yeah, it's... I don't know that packaging our own expat is specifically necessary. Right, like, it's not usually something I'd want to do. So just the yum provides expat. Alright. Check. You just right click. It pastes it. Oh. Okay. Huh. Okay, there it is. So it's looking for the 32-bit version of the library, and it's not there. You'll have that. It's old. What is it that failed? It's actually not that old. I don't know why it's relying on an old version of expat, but okay. Anyway, we could just run make again. No. Really? Why? Because it doesn't know where to find it, probably. It's part of libgcc. Really? There's nothing in a devil package anymore, right? Yeah, there it is. There it is. So a lot of times when you think you have a dependency, like we just had here with expat, like it's clearly installed in the system, but it's throwing an error that it's not installed, and it's really confusing. Look for the devil package. GCC is looking for something to compile against, and it needs the C headers. Those are only found in devil packages. Oh, we got errors. LD returned. Oh. Okay, well. Define reference X, won't get error codes, get set FZ. Parser create. Jesus. Okay. Alright, I grabbed the 64-bit version for, and now I'll grab the i686 version. That will sometimes make this happy. Alright, what we'll make. Yeah, no, I didn't think that would actually fix it. Let's see. Looks like it's calling functions that aren't there. And leave Apache request utility. Alright, well. Let's look that up. If I can get things to work correctly. Really? I have a... Okay. I'm just saying undefined. all tests passed. So all I did was leave my current environment and then return to it. When you install things, you don't always get all the environment updates that you should. It's really rare that that actually works. I'm kind of impressed, but there you go. But it looks like it was the, remember I had an issue with Perl and I had to change LD library path. Well, that's what was breaking it. I need an LD library path pointed at the actual where it's supposed to be printed or pointed. And that was my own fault. When I exported it, I should have appended it to the end of the new path, which was just PWD at the time. Or the shell return of PWD, which is where I am now. Alright, so, and which is why logging out, logging back in fixed it, because it fixed all the environment variables, which you can see by typing print env. Remember, I believe I said earlier that when weird shit happens and you just can't explain it, it's probably your environment. Alright, so now we can say sudo make install. Okay, so now when I come over here, I should have, am I still in the, yep, okay, so I can say ln profile, not profile, geez, httpd bin apr apu1 config. Okay. And that's all of that. Now I can cd httpd ls with APR. Really? It must not be with APU. It must be. Okay, we'll do configure -- help var grep APU. That's not helpful. APR util path. But we're also going to No, we're gonna just run that. PCRE2 config for library, PCRE not found, PCRE is required and available at PCRE.org. I don't think there are any tests for Apache, right? Nope. Alright. Alright. That installs everything. Now I say sudo ln tac s profile. I keep doing that. httpd bin apache ctl. But before we get into that, we're going to go into the http directory. We're going to go into the conf directory. We're going to buy httpd.conf. Change the port from 80 to 8080. Okay. And the reason you want to do this, like, you don't want to actually do this on most machines. I'm doing this because my routers live on port 80. And any references through the network that would, like, if I wanted to allow outside connections to view this test server for any reason, it has to be bound to a different port. And do check with your hardware, because some routers actually listed on 8080 for external connections only, for remote configs. So a little bit of knowing your hardware. You can also use, oh, oops. So my number pad, yeah, my number pad is actually mapped to a series of my OBS scene transitions, so I get ahead of myself. 16080 is an old web catch port. It's not really used anymore, but I'm actually just going to leave it on 80 because I'm not going to be, this isn't going to be externally viewable. We're We're going to fix this load module stuff up later. We're going to be adding a module to that, but we're not ready for it. Actually, you know what? Leave that alone. That's fine. Do we have anything to really change here? There used to be a... this is less important right now. It's more important when you bind the server to an actual domain name. Now you can absolutely just put your IP address in here, and you know that's what I'll just do. We'll do it's 192.168.5.102, I believe, right? Okay. So now I'm not root. Okay, we're gonna say sudo there's one more thing to do before we're ready to do this. I don't think we do that anymore. I think I found some very old documentation. Wrong one. I actually need root for this. What's up, fly? No shit. IP tables is still. I thought it was firewall config now. Is it still here? Yeah, firewall command. Okay. We say firewall command, zone, public, add, port, equals 80, TCP, to copy paste this because I can actually not read the text well enough to properly copy it. But you said permanent there. Okay. Unrecognized. Add. Oh. There. Okay, that's success. Now we say firewall command reload. Okay, now we're going to say IP tables save grep 80. Really? Is IP tables not there anymore? Yeah, well, that's just where the executable is. Okay, well, it used to live in Etsy sysconfig, but I guess it's not there anymore. Is it supposed to be 2? Used to be able to say that, I think. Yeah, list. Oh, chain rule number. List rules. What I wanted to do is list out all the rules to me. You used to be able to read it through the file, but I don't know where they hide it now. Jeez. I'm a little leery of this, but... yeah, I didn't think that would work. Okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. Let's see what we get. Let's just see if it works. What the hell, right? The worst it can do is not work. Okay. No listing stock is available, shutting down. Well, yeah, because I have to be... there we go. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. But let's try curl. www, really, Joe? That is the HTML of the test page. But no, the firewall is not letting my web browser come over the network to it. So... my dog is nose whistling. Really? Zone public, add port 80 TCP permanent. Warning already enabled. Okay. Good. And then firewall command reload. Okay. I'm gonna check whether it's in there. I'm gonna paste that whole thing in there. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Yeah, it's not. Okay. IP tables, -a input, -p TCP, D port 80, -s 192.168. Oh no. Yeah, actually I do want to do this. 168 dash. No, I don't want to specify the source address. -m state --state new established -j accept. And then IP tables save. Okay. Oh, I'm dumb. So it wasn't working because I used this address already for my other Linux installation. But that server is bound to port 8080, and Chrome was auto-filling out the port number on there. So it wasn't finding it. I don't think I had to hack IP tables at all. I could have just, the firewall command probably worked fine. That's very funny. But I promised that we would build a working web server by the end of the stream, and technically, this is a working web server. Now, it's not particularly useful as is. I mean, it'll host a website, written in generic ass HTML, JavaScript, CSS. That'll all work fine. But for the more interesting things that we would maybe want to do with a website, or maybe not a website, but a web application, is, the storage of a database, or a storage mechanism like a database, and an interpreter between them to build an API up like Perl, which is, how I generally deploy. So it's 1:22 in the morning. It's about time for me to give this up. It's actually a little bit early. I normally end my streams at around 2 a.m. But I know from here it's a little bit of an uphill battle. So I would like to pick this up tomorrow. So we're going to exit. Oh, well, actually, this fly is driving me absolutely bonkers. Currently, the server is running, right? So what we want to do is issue stop to Apache CTL. Oh. Again, you have to do that with sudo. And if you notice, we're using the frameworked binary link. Oops. Actually, I don't even have to reference it by bin, I don't think. I can just say sudo Apache CTL. Or not. Oh. Yeah. Oh. No, that's weird. I would have thought links would have been installed with the command line browser tools. Oh yeah, my dog is most definitely whining. But if we check now, the only thing that runs is the grep that we just ran. So we're done here. We can exit, and now from here, the proper way to shut down the machine is sudo shutdown -h now. And yeah. Oops. It actually automatically closed the thing. The VM. So that's it for now. We will pick this up tomorrow. Let me just break out my list. Okay. This is done. This is done. We install Linux. We installed Perl. We installed Apache. Next will be Postgres or Postgres. Okay. I'm actually just going to leave this up. And I will see everyone tomorrow, again at 10 p.m. or maybe like 5 after or so. The oldest child goes to bed at 10, so there's a little bit of a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey thing happening there. And I don't like the children on stream, so we will, as soon as she goes to bed, I will be back here doing this again, live. We're going to do the database, and we already did dependency hell too. That's done. That was all the yum install, yum provides this and that. We are skipping this because we don't want to bind externally. Then there's just mod Perl. And we're actually already working on the profile, but that's only half done. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, I have to pick things up and put them down tomorrow. So, thank you all for joining me tonight. And we will pick this up tomorrow. Be available for questions and answers. And I hope to see everybody then.